Hey, what's going on, everybody? Glad to see everybody here. I'm sure, hopefully, that there'll be more people showing up shortly. I am live on YouTube and Sportscaster. Lawrence Owen, Colts Law, obviously going over the weekly Colts training camp news and updates for the week ending in 8/29/2020. Now, I got to apologize. I'm doing this with a bit of a headache. Yeah, that sucks too. I hate having headaches. But I didn't want to leave y'all in the dark, right? I always do it 5 p.m. on Saturdays. And just one more of these before I start doing breakdowns of games on these rather than training camp updates. So that's really, really exciting. I'm really happy about that. I am going to give me a moment because I'm going to share this. I didn't get this shared out earlier, and I need to. And there we go. All right. It was just real quick tweak. I don't know if you guys follow me at all. Colts Law. I'm on Colts_Law for Twitter and Instagram. Actually, I think it's Colts Law 76. Hold on, let me check real quick. I think that's what it is. No, just Colts_Law. So that's awesome. And of course, I'm on Facebook, Lawrence Owen. You know, that name right there. A lot of stuff to go over today. Let's see what I want to talk about. First off, let's go over the tight end group like the thumbnail suggested. I think that's a good place to start. So as you know, or as many of you may know, the Colts in the last 2 years have led the NFL, at least their tight ends have led the NFL the last 2 years in touchdowns, 28 of them. But, of course, we don't have Eric Ebron, who accounted for 15 of those touchdowns in 2018. But Trey Burton is a very similar style tight end. Better hands. Jack Doyle, of course, will be used a lot more. I think Moe Alie-Cox will probably be used a lot more. But a little bit of training camp update. Jack Doyle's been out for a little while, practice. Now, it's a neck injury for Jack Doyle, and from what I'm understanding, he could have practiced, but they're just holding him out for precautionary measures, get him 100%, so that so that week 1 we got 100% Jack Doyle rather than someone who's still nursing an injury. We don't need to push that envelope any more than what it already is. Trey Burton went out in practice today, early on, before halftime. Calf injury, from what I'm understanding. Now, Trey Burton missed a lot of time last year for the Bears because of a calf injury. And that's technically why he was released, was because of the calf injury from last year. So that's kind of a scary proposition. Apparently he's going to have an MRI on that calf injury tomorrow, from what I'm reading and understanding. If that's the case, then hopefully it comes back negative. But Frank's already straight up said that it looks like most likely he'll miss the beginning of the season for the Colts. So that's a big down trot for Trey Burton and the tight end position. So expect more Moe Alie-Cox out there, most likely. And it could result in more Roosevelt Nix as well, because Nix, being a fullback, is a very similar style player to tight ends. So you might see a little bit more Nix out there on the field as well. But Can this team continue to be a weapon with tight ends? I mean, we all know that they've got dangerous running back group, a lot of high expectations for the wide receivers. And I'm going to say that because Phillip Rivers does like throwing to tight ends, and Jack Doyle is a security blanket at the tight end position. He is not a superstar tight end by any means, but he's a great run blocker, and he's a sure-handed catcher and knows how to find open spots on the field when a lot of your regular receivers are not able to find themselves open on the field. So I think Jack could end up getting a lot more receptions and a lot more targets than what he did last year or even the year before, with even with Trey Burton on the field, especially early on this season when Trey's, rehabbing, hopefully short-term rehabbing that calf injury of his. Moe Alie-Cox, great blocker, which means he will be on the field a lot, and he's got like 11.5-inch hands or something like that. I mean, we've all seen what he can do. The one-handed just reach up, one-handed snag the football in the back of the end zone, walking backwards. It was just unbelievable a couple years back. I think he's a better receiver now than what he was back then. So I'm fully sure that we'll see more Moe Alie-Cox, especially, like I said, early on with Trey Burton out due to the calf injury. Do I think they're going to be a prime receiving target for Rivers? Probably not. Not from the way training camp is kind of turning out, right? It's obvious that Phillip loves T.Y. Hilton. He loves Paris Campbell, and he's throwing the ball a lot to Marlon Mack. So Mack's getting a lot of those receptions out of the backfields. T.Y. and Paris are getting a lot of receptions. He's not throwing it as much to the tight ends. I mean, that obviously can change, but he likes his checkdowns to his running backs more so than his tight ends. Now, if the running backs are held back to help pass protect, then the tight ends are going to be your targets. And we all know that Tom Rathman, the running backs coach, loves teaching these guys how to pass block. So expect them to be, in the passing game, in back there pass blocking. Now they can just, break off, and then Rivers could just dump it off to the running backs as they break off real quick for quick yardage. And that happens a lot. That has happened a lot in training camp with Marlon Mack. So that's an impressive thing. DeForest Buckner, I'd like to get it. We're talking about, he has been throwing to Michael Pittman Jr. Brock Glazer, thanks for the question here on YouTube. He asked, has he been throwing to MPJ a lot? And he has. But Michael Pittman Jr. is having those rookie issues. Very similar to Jonathan Taylor, actually, when it comes to the receiving game. Apparently, it has become not a problem, but I guess they're both kind of dropping passes. From what I'm understanding, the reports are going on. Now, this is obviously it takes a while for a receiver to get up to speed in the NFL, especially when it comes to playing against NFL cornerbacks that have been in the NFL for a while, like Xavier Rhodes, So you can expect that. I said earlier on, I didn't expect Michael Pittman Jr. to really be a big force early on with the Colts because of the way Paris Campbell's blowing up. He didn't have that problem in college, but look at it was college level defenders he was playing against, right? I mean, this is NFL play. This is NFL style. Xavier Rhodes is an all-pro. You got a lot of good guys back there. When you got Hooker back there, just today, apparently there was a throw to MPJ deep by Rivers, like the longest throw, like over 50 yards. And MPJ would have caught it, but it was at the last second. Malik Hooker came in, knocked that ball out. So, And that's what you expect from Malik Hooker. So you can't really you can't really knock Pittman on that because Hooker did his job as well. You'd like to see him come down with it, but you also want to see Hooker do a good job as well. I just think that because of the speed, athleticism, and quickness between T.Y. Hilton and Paris Campbell, that they'll probably get more targets between the 20s than what Michael Pittman Jr. will. Now, Pittman being a 6'5", 220-pound receiver, damn near tight end style, but running a 4.5 40, I think he'll be more of a target in the red zones, right? I think he's definitely one of those guys that you can expect close to or around 10 touchdowns this season. I don't know if you're going to see him explode early on, like in the first few weeks, because I think that you're going to be relying mostly on the running game and your quick passing attack, because that's just going to get the team in more of a rhythm early on, being that there has not been a very long preseason, no preseason games, not much training camp, no OTAs, that kind of situation. I think the quick passing game and the running game will get this team clicking a little bit better in the first couple games. So I don't think you'll see a lot of Pittman early on. He'll definitely get his targets or get a few targets, but I don't think that it'll be someone that Rivers will be throwing deep down the field to often. Yep, that's right. Speaking of Jonathan Taylor, we talked about earlier, and Marlon Mack. Marlon Mack's just been shining all training camp, breaking off 50-plus yard touchdown runs, making all kind of moves in the backfield, catching the football left and right from Rivers. I mean, they're saying that in the first 2 weeks of training camp that Marlon Mack caught more footballs than he did the entire time the rest of the seasons with the Indianapolis Colts and college combined, during actual games. So that's a big plus. And he's catching them. He's not dropping them. He's catching them. So that's a huge plus for Marlon Mack, because we all know how much Phillip Rivers loves to throw to his running backs, a.k.a., going over to Austin Eckler from last season. He threw to Austin Eckler like 20 times in week 1 against the Colts, right? It was ridiculous. And I have no problem whatsoever Rivers finding Marlon Mack in the open field and letting him take that football with open space and able to move and make moves on people. No problem whatsoever, because I'll take Marlon Mack over Austin Eckler every day of the week when it comes to what he can do on the open field. Now, Jonathan Taylor's been dropping the football quite a bit, more so than Michael Pittman. There was a little worry about that when he was coming out of college, though. And it's not something that you really have to worry too much about, because, what he's been doing on the ground, he's also, just like Marlon Mack, he's able to break off big runs too. He's doing a good job. He's showing off while he's carrying the football. He's just not doing a great job catching the football out of the backfield. So it's kind of scary for Nyheim Hines, because if Marlon Mack is doing such a good job catching the ball, you would think that you would have Marlon in the backfield. If he's doing a good job doing that, you'd want to keep Marlon on the field on third and medium or third and short, right? Because that would make the defense guess more on whether or not they're going to try to run it or pass it. Whereas if you got Nyheim Hines on the field and you switch him out, you don't see Nyheim run the football nearly as much as he goes out for the pass instead on those passing situations. Now, Nyheim Hines' spot is not in jeopardy at all. He's still a great receiver out of the backfield. He's lined up at wide receiver and slot receiver multiple times over the last 2 years. Obviously, last year he did an outstanding job at punt returning late in the season. He had 40-plus yard punt return and then 2 punt returns on top of that for touchdowns in the same game, right, against the Bucs. So expect expect Nyheim Hines still to have his position, no problem. Heck, I guess Jordan Wilkins is doing well too with the second team. So I love what our running backs are doing right now. I love the fact that our running backs are doing a great job. I want to go back to talking about injuries though. Julian Blackmon, it has came up that not long ago, Chris Ballard was talking about possible Julian Blackmon coming off of that PUP list. Everyone took that a little premature. Because apparently they're talking about him not really being able to play until maybe October. That, yes, he's getting close to coming off the PUP, but he still has a lot of practice and training and stuff. But they're saying possibly October. It's even been mentioned that they may put him, Frank Reich said, when it comes closer to week 1, the start of the actual season, that they may put him on IR. They may put him on IR. I mean, if he's not going to be able to play until October or late October, then you might as well, right? You might as well put him on IR. That'll help the team overall. It's not like it's hurting the team at all putting him on IR. He straight said they're not going to push him at all. He's a rookie. He says he's very happy with the depth they have right now at safety, and they're not going to push him. They want to do this right and keep him healthy for the long haul after he gets back. You don't want to rush something like this. So if Blackmon ends up going to IR, don't be shocked. Yes, it'll be after he can come off of it after week 8. Mathal St. Thomas asked, the new IR rules again. Yeah, he can come off of IR. If he's put on IR before week 1, he can come off of it after week 8. So you got to be, it's an 8-week process for IR. So that's cool. I'm good with that. Maybe. But I mean, it's not in stone either. He may not go to IR. It just depends upon how they feel where he's at, right? That's why they're waiting till right near week 1 to see where everything's at, because they want to make sure to make the best decision for him, not just the team, but for him specifically. So don't get your hopes up that he'll be playing early on in the season. I know a lot of reporters have been saying that they're excited and think that he might be able to play, might even be able to play starting week 1. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. And besides, I mean, Malik Hooker's been out there just stomping it, right, in training camp. He's been blowing up. And so's Khari Willis. Khari Willis has been doing pretty decent as well. So our starting safeties right now are doing really, really well. So I'm okay with it, man. I'm very well okay with it. Let the man sit there and rest and get fully healed 100% and get up to NFL speed before he's brought in. Don't forget, guys, hit that like button, subscribe, and share. I'd appreciate it very much. And keep bringing me questions, man, over here in the live chat. I really appreciate that. Over on Sportscaster, I got Jerry's Kid, Galaxy Fan, Angels. Thanks for following me, Angel. And Billy Man 9288 here on Sportscaster, watching me live as well as all of you over here on YouTube. Okay, Brock, you say you think Hooker has a lot to prove if he wants to re-sign him. Well, understand, stats ain't everything for free safety, right? But sometimes the lack of stats is a good thing. But he did get burned a couple times, and he missed a few tackles early on. But he made some impressive tackles through this as the season went along. And also he played up near the line of scrimmage a lot last year. So he was learning new stuff that Matt Eberflus had him doing that he had never really done much before, right? So it was a learning experience for him last season. And it was his healthiest season that he's had over the past, since he's been drafted. But it looks like he's getting a lot of things down of what Eberflus wants from him. And I have high expectations for Hooker. I think Hooker's going to do a heck of a lot better this year than what he did last year. Yeah, you're right. They did not pick up his fifth-year option, Brock. And, there's reasons for that. It could have been a motivational thing. They probably do want to keep him, but not picking up his fifth-year option could just be a motivational thing. Hey, go out there, show what you can do, practice hard, play harder, play hard, practice harder. That's how it goes for the Colts. We all know Eberflus is one of those guys that if you're not out there giving 110% in practice, you're not playing in the games, right? So play hard, practice harder. And apparently he's been practicing his butt off. So, yeah, Stephen Benedict. He did. He played a lot of strong. I don't know if you noticed, he was switching around a lot with the strong safety. Kari would go to his spot. He would go to the strong safety position, or vice versa with Clayton Geathers when he was out there playing as well. So, Hooker was playing different positions. He was playing man coverage, which I don't like seeing Malik Hooker playing man coverage. I think that he's better served as a free roaming free safety rather than playing right up on people man. But what do you expect? Oh, good Lord. Contracts? Give me a second, man. Good question. There is a ton of people. A ton of people that are on their contract year this year. So let me get to that for you. So where am I at? No, that's not what I want. Man, I'm not looking. I'm sorry. I'm not seeing what I was looking for. It's on here somewhere. I'm not seeing the contract year where I can hit that. Right now, Andrew Luck still has a dead cap on the Colts right now of $6.4 million, and Hoyer's got a $4 million dead cap on us, in case you didn't realize that. So that between those two players, that's $10.5 million. I'm having a hard time finding out. There's a lot of people. Guys I want re-signed. We'll talk about that. Anthony Walker too, yes. I want Stewart re-signed, Anthony Walker, Malik Hooker, Marlon Mack. Who else? You got, depending upon how he does, Phillip Rivers, obviously. If he does a good job, because currently right now the only quarterback we have under contract after this year is our rookie Eason, right? So there's no telling who's going to be the quarterback next season. T.Y. Hilton, we need to re-sign him. If he has a healthy season this year, I want to see him have a fully healthy season, or at least not miss more than 2 games and be effective those 2 games. Yes, I understand he only missed 2 games in 2018, but the other 3 games that he played late in the season, he was basically a decoy because of the upper and lower ankle sprain. He couldn't really do anything. He was just a decoy, especially in that Texans game that they played, right? I'd rather see him playing and be effective rather than just a decoy. We don't have to worry about Jack Doyle. We just re-signed him earlier this season to a $21 million extension for 3 years. Is Danico Autry? Hold on. No, he signed through next year as well. No, wait. No, Danico Autry this year. This year is Danico Autry's last season, so it's a prove-it year for him. Thing is, he's doing a good job too. He's doing a good thing too. Houston, again, yes, Brock. Houston is also another guy. Nomadic Brian, aside from the tight ends going down, things are looking pretty good in camp. Yes, they are. Other than Michael Pittman Jr. having some rookie things that he's learning, trying to catch up, being a rookie, getting some drops, not understanding how the quarterback wants him to move around on the field, things of that nature. He's learning, but he's not up to par. And then, of course, as I said earlier, Jonathan Taylor doing a lot of drops in training camp as well, but Marlon Mack is picking that slack up big time. XRP Extra Rice asks, how is the kicking competition? It looks like Rodrigo Blankenship is losing that. It looks like Chase McLaughlin is winning the competition right now. There are not, from all reports, everyone is saying that it does not look like any undrafted free agent will make the Colts roster this year unless something drastically changes over the next 2 weeks. So just let you know that. There's a ton of guys that are on that list right now, man, for the Colts. Rhodes is just on a 1-year contract. You'll want to extend. If he's healthy this season, Xavier Rhodes is going to blow everybody's mind. I'm telling you. Xavier Rhodes will blow everybody's mind if he stays healthy. Because the last time he played a fully healthy season, he was an all-pro. So, just letting you know. I'm expecting big things out of Xavier Rhodes, especially since he's used to playing man-to-man when he was with the Vikings. And now he's playing a much simplified zone coverage heavy scheme. And he says he loves it because it's so much easier to play zone, he says, than it is to play man. And he's out there freaking balling, right? A lot of good things being talked about with Xavier Rhodes. So don't be shocked if Xavier has a great season. You know how everybody is really excited about the linebacking core, that, we got a really strong, deep linebacking core, especially with the starters, Darius Leonard and Anthony Walker Jr. and Bobby Okereke. From the way the depth is looking on defensive line, they may be the deepest position other than running back on this team. The way Danico Autry is balling out, the way Lewis is coming back, finally healthy, got his head on straight, he's balling out. Banagou's balling out. Chase has been more consistent in the kicking position. I give him a pass for missing from 50 plus time to time, as long as, I agree. From 50 plus, you're going to miss from 50 plus from time to time. That's a long kick. You want to see the guys not miss from the 20s to the 40. That's where you want your high percentage kicks to be from. Well, you say it is our weakest position, but TJ Carey's not a bad guy to play cornerback, especially at nickel, especially considered that Kenny Moore is still out with that groin injury. They're saying he may not make it back for week 1. They're hoping, but he's been out for a while with that groin injury. So Rock's looking pretty decent, which you would expect because he was looking really good at the end of the season last year. And this year, it's his second year, so he knows more. He's coming into camp understanding football a lot better than what he did, NFL-wise. I do too. Brock says he really thinks that the front seven could be one of the best in the NFL. And I agree. I think that they could have a top 5 run defense. And when it comes to pass rush, I think they could be in the top 5 of that as well. I'm not saying that their pass defense is going to be top 5. Top 15, I'll be happy with. You're not going to get a top 5 pass defense, yardage-wise, running a zone-heavy scheme. It's not what it's built for, They give up high percentage completions. They give up a lot of yards. Not yards after catch, just completion after completion after completion. They force people to make play after play after play after play. And then they're able to tighten it up a little bit more inside the red zone. So the way the Colts play defense, they're going to give up yardage between the 20s, but they're going to force them to make 8 to 12 play drives without making a mistake. So I think a lot of good pressure will come up front, especially if we run a lot of 5-man rushes. I don't think you'll see as many blitzes this year from Matt Eberflus as you used to because of just the depth and talent on the D-line. But when he does, it'll be that much more effective. You mean Jacob Eason? Extra rice? I assume you mean Jacob Eason? Because, I think Jacob Eason will make the 53. And they'll try to put Kelly on the practice squad again this year. And as for Fountain has been balling. I mean, granted, he's been playing with the second team, but apparently he's been balling with the second team. So, it's not as been as explosive as what he was last year in training camp. But granted, he's playing with the second team. Granted, it's Brissett, so he's got the same guy throwing to him that he did last year. So, he's doing well. So, I fully expect Fountain to make probably the 5th spot. Yeah, the bend but don't break. Well, see, that's the problem. Good NFL analysts will look at the Colts, and even though the stats say we give up a lot of yards and a lot of completion percentage, because, the Colts gave up, over a 70% completion percentage last year. But if you look at how much we allowed scoring, that's the thing that's so important with a zone defense, zone-heavy defense. It's there to prevent scoring points. Not worried about giving up the yards, right? It's more about forcing the other team to make play after play after play in order to score. Sure, you might get 5 or 6 completions or 3 or 4 first downs, every time you have an offensive drive, but you're not going to be scoring a touchdown very often. And that's what a zone defense is there for. Oh, yeah. Steven says we should be able to move the ball at will between the 20s. So our success will come down to success in the red zone. Well, and that's going to have a lot to do with, I think in the red zone, you're going to see some nasty players on the field, you're going to see a lot of Zach Pascal, Michael Pittman Jr. at wide receiver. I think you'll see those two on the line a lot, along with maybe 2 running backs and a tight end, or 2 tight ends and a running back, right? Because both Pascal and Pittman can run block very, very well. And I think that's the kind of, especially if it's like, goal line from the 5 or closer. You'll see some situations like at a goal line from the 10, Yes, a lot of Nelson versus DeForest Buckner out there, man. There's been a lot of that, a lot of pictures of it. They talk to each other. They actually very friendly with each other, from what I'm understanding. Neither one of them is trying to hurt each other, obviously. DeForest has got a hand injury he's been dealing with, so he returned to practice this week. One moment. And it'll be really, really awesome. Iron sharpens iron. I know you guys probably hate that, hearing that, because that's an old Chuck Pagano proverb, but it is true, right? That's funny. I didn't even notice you said that, Brock, and then I said it. Understand, it's when you have really good players practicing against really good players, it just makes those players that even better, right? Take you back when the Colts were getting ready to face Kansas City, and they were doing practices, and Quentin Nelson had to practice against a practice squad guy, right? Because the defensive line was hurt so bad, and linebackers were hurt, and he's out there practicing against practice squad guys. He runs up to Ballard and is like, "I'm getting ready to face Chris Jones and them, and you got me facing practice squad guys? What the hell, Chris?" Runs back. I mean, the best response he could have ever done was went out and got DeForest Buckner, because, all right, practice against this dude, right? Buckner's numbers going up. That's interesting, Brian, because it may not. It honestly may not. But that don't mean that his effect won't be noticed. His numbers are good, especially against the run. He's always double teamed. He was the 6th most double team person in the NFL last year with the Niners. And you know the kind of people they had on the Niners. Now, for the Colts, the most double team guy we had last year was Stewart. Now, I promise you, those guys that were double teaming Stewart last year will be double teaming Buckner instead when Stewart's on the field beside him, which is going to free up Stewart one-on-one. And he's going to get more. Houston's going to get more. Teray's going to get more. Lewis, Al-Qadim Muhammad, another player I haven't mentioned, who's had a pretty good training camp as well. So even if Buckner's numbers don't go up, you will see his effect on the team by seeing the other players' numbers go up. That is what makes Buckner a special player. It will make real games playing against practice playing those two. Yeah. How do I think Teray will do this year, looking how he played last year in a small sample size? Okay, so I had a nice little quick Twitter conversation with Robert Mathis 2 weeks ago, I believe, actually talking about Kemoko Turay. All right. And I was like, hey, I looked at a lot of I broke down a lot of his film last year in the 5 games that he played leading up to his injury in the Kansas City game, and then went to IR. And obviously, he's been practicing with you, talking to Robert Mathis over these last couple years. I think he could be a top 5 pass rusher in this NFL. Robert Mathis said that he 100% agreed with me. that he believes that Kemoko Turay could be a top 5 pass rusher in the NFL. Not just the AFC, the NFL. So that's high praise coming from, the Colts leading sacker in the NFL, in NFL or Colts history, I should say. South St. Thomas, random thought, with a new kicker for the first time in a long time, will there be a kicking competition? The punter will probably still have that job. Sanchez will probably still be doing that unless Rodrigo makes the team. Rodrigo is known for his big booting kicks. Okay. But like I said, Chase is winning that competition right now. So if Chase wins, most likely Sanchez will most likely still be doing the kickoffs. It depends. I think he can get a lot of sacks, especially with Buckner and Stewart. That's a really good question, Brock, by the way. Do I think that Turay will be a big sack guy or more of a consistent pressure guy like Brandon Graham or Jadeveon Clowney? Lots of pressures, not many sacks, right? So that kind of player that you're talking about. I think with Stewart and Buckner in the middle, keeping quarterbacks from being able to step up in the pocket will allow more sacks for Turay, because when he comes around that edge or he beats his offensive, which he does a lot, by the way. Oh my God, when I was watching the films and doing the film room breakdown that I have for him, he beats his guys all the time. And he's just getting better. And it's not just his speed it has been. His handwork is so impressive. He's able to keep those guys' hands off of him so that he's able to maneuver his body around them. It's just beautiful. But anyhow, he'll be able to come around that edge and the quarterback won't be able to step up to get away from him. I think there'll be more sacks this year for Turay if he stays healthy than what he's had in the past. And the pressures will just be off the charts. I think he'll be a top 5 pressure guy without a doubt. And I think his sack numbers, he legitimately has a chance to have 10-plus sacks this season if he can stay healthy, in my opinion. I really do. I think that him and Houston will make a really good combination on the edges. So, yeah, I like I said earlier, I think there'll be a top 5 run defense, and quarterback pressure, I think they'll be top 10. Obviously, like I said, because of the zone scheme that they play, they'll probably give up a lot more in the passing game. Let's see what's going on over here. Isaac Sports, thanks for joining the stream on Sportscaster as well. Appreciate you being here. Brian, how do I think the Colts will do on coverage this year? We got a lot of players that are incredibly athletic and good tacklers that still play special teams, even starters. Bobby Okereke still plays special teams. Kari Willis plays special teams, right? Trey Burton is a special teamer. We got a lot of very fast, athletic, good tackling guys on special teams. And because Sanchez is a good punter, I think our punt coverage will be fine. Kickoff coverage, I don't know. I honestly, I don't know, because generally Sanchez boots that in the back of the end zone more so than just about any other kicker in the NFL. So unless something drastic happens, I don't see much change in that aspect as well. Yeah, okay. I see what you're talking. You brought up Graham because he's got Cox in the center there as well. Yeah, I understand that. I get you. I fully get you. Well, I mean, how about think of it more along the lines of what the Ravens have right now, right? Calais Campbell. They have Calais Campbell now in the middle of that defense. And all you Colts guys, you know who Calais Campbell is. He's nasty up front. He's a big people mover on the defensive line. And now the Ravens have him to go with Matt Judon as the pass rusher on the outside for the Ravens. So he's only going to make Matt Judon's job so much easier. I'm sorry, I know a lot about the NFL in general. I mean, I cover the NFL for Sportscaster, so I go through all that stuff all the time. So I'm going to use a lot of other teams as well. Will season opener be different because of lack of fans and different kind of off season? I think they'll be less flashy. In a way, yes. The NFL media and the teams are going to have week one as a major learning curve, right? You'll probably see a lot more sideline interviews week one to try to fill the holes between plays, especially on timeouts and stuff like that. I think teams will play a little bit differently. You might see a bit more of a faster paced game, actually, right? From what I'm understanding, there's a lot of teams out there right now that are going to a lot of no huddle quick offenses because of this whole situation, because it always benefits the offense anyhow. And being that there's no fans in the stands and the cameras can't really pan off of the field to the stands, because that would just be stupid right now. I mean, they will at times for teams that still have fans in the stands, but I think the majority of the NFL right now is not having fans in the stands. The Colts are still planning on doing 25% of the capacity of Lucas Oil stadiums, though. Yes. Brian asked a good question. With Rivers getting a lot of passes off to running backs in practice, do I think that will be a regular season plan as well? Absolutely. He did it during the regular season last year with the Chargers. He's done it in his recent past. He's always done that. He's always loved his running backs and his tight ends. So, yes, I fully expect Marlon Mack to probably catch 30, 40 catches at least, which is a big jump compared to what he had, his first few years here in the NFL. And Rivers, unlike Jacoby Brissett, throws a beautiful touch ball at close range, right? Easy catches, which means he's easily able to catch the football and turn and come upfield. Whereas Brissett kind of throws ropes. Even when they're only 5 yards away from him, he'll still throw a rope. And it makes it difficult for the running back to do a catch and run. But Rivers is very experienced doing that. He does a good job getting the ball to receivers so that they can catch it very easily and move with it. How do I think Okereke will play this year? I think he had a really underrated rookie year. I wouldn't necessarily say it was underrated. I think most, not just NFL fans, or not just Colts fans, a lot of your media saw Bobby Okereke. That 2-point interception return that he had, that went big. People saw that. People saw a lot of his sacks. People saw a lot of his cover. He does have a little bit of issue with separation once he gets engaged with blockers. That's a problem that he needs to work on. Darius Leonard, I think, is someone that could teach him how to use his long arms to keep those blockers' hands off of him. But I think Okereke will do perfectly fine. The great thing about Bobby Okereke, Anthony Walker, and Darius Leonard, all three guys can play all three positions on that at the linebacker spot. All three guys can play Will, Sam, and Mike. They did it last year. All three of them played all three positions. It was an amazing thing to see. And you didn't realize it until you actually go back on the film and look and be like, what in the world? You know, I'm sitting here watching Anthony Walker playing Darius Leonard's position versus Kansas City because Darius Leonard still had the concussion, right? He's playing that position, not Bobby Okereke. Bobby Okereke's playing Mike. Weird, right? I mean, I understand that Bobby Okereke can play Mike. That's what he played in college, but you would think that Anthony Walker, but because Anthony Walker's more experienced, Anthony Walker is so underrated. Oh, my goodness. But our linebacking core is just that good that they can play every position and not miss a beat because they trust in each other. 3, tell me I didn't just lose internet. Well, that's weird. Okay, there I am. All right. Sorry, guys. I started to do a little swirly thing here on YouTube, so I don't know what was going on with that. But, yeah, getting the ball out to the running backs when you got Trey Burton and Jack Doyle hurt right now, that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. Yeah, I've seen a lot of talk about Bobby Okereke, especially the guys that watch film. The people that watch film that cover the NFL, like PFF ranked Bobby Okereke very, very high on their meter. When it came to rookie linebackers, I think they had him like number 1 or number 2. So just let you know that. What's going to happen with Kelly? Does he compete? Kelly's doing well. I think Kelly's doing pretty decent. I think Eason's arm talent is showing off in camp. All right. He's making some absolutely gorgeous passes in training camp. I think what's going to end up happening is they're going to probably end up releasing Chad Kelly and pray that they could get him on the practice squad again because, yes, he is practice squad available again this year. Oh, thanks for letting me know, St. Thomas. I don't know why it did that. That's weird. Anthony Walker led in tackles. And you know what? It's funny you say that, Brian, about Anthony Walker leading the team in tackles last year. And a lot of people want to say, well, Darius Leonard missed 3 games due to a concussion. That's why. Anthony Walker was splitting time with Bobby Okereke the entire time. He actually had less snaps than Darius Leonard had, and yet still had more tackles than Darius Leonard. But then again, Darius had more forced fumbles and interceptions and stuff like that and sacks. So, Stephen Benedict, River completed 134 passes to his 2 running backs last year, Eckler and Gordon. Aaron Rodgers, who many best at the passes, 88 caught by his running backs last year. Yeah. And to be fair, I always said Marlon Mack was good at receiving the football out of the backfield. When Andrew Luck was quarterbacking, every time he threw the ball to Marlon Mack, it was a catchable, easy catchable football. Andrew Luck was known for throwing good catchable passes. Marlon Mack would catch it and run. Phillip Rivers is very similar. Only he throws to his running backs a lot more than Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck looks downfield more than what, believe it or not, Andrew Luck looks downfield more than what Phillip Rivers does, even though Phillip Rivers is supposedly known for throwing the deep ball to the 50-50 receivers. Brock, yeah, like I said, I thought he was like either the number 1 or number 2 rookie linebacker last year. Yeah. I thought so. I knew I read it somewhere, but I wasn't 100% sure the exact numbers. I follow PFF occasionally as well. I don't use PFF as a sole source. It'd be kind of like using just regular stats as a sole source or advanced metrics as just a sole source. You put them all together, and then you look at the film, and you get a complete picture of what's going on, right? Rather than just be like, well, PFF is the thing to go to, or stats, that's your real numbers, or, whatnot. No. And sometimes you just got to watch the game as it goes and get a feel for what's going on as well. Scott, hey, what's going on, my guys? I appreciate you being here. Let's see. I still have 8 people over on Sportscaster. Everybody, don't forget, please like, subscribe, and share. Appreciate you guys being here. Help me out, guys. Likes are big on YouTube analytics. The more likes there is, the more people will see it on YouTube. So I'll just let you know that. Heard Rivers was opening up more downfield in practice. He did this past week. He has. Yes. Pittman's getting a few drops, but TY he's still throwing it deep. You know, he's throwing it 40, 45, 50 yards downfield. Pittman had a drop that was pretty deep. TY caught a touchdown that was a 45-yard in-air pass, flat-footed. You all probably saw it, right? On Twitter where the Colts posted it. He was flat-footed when he threw that ball perfectly just to the outside shoulder of T.Y. Hilton in stride. I mean, my goodness, what a pass that was. That was beautiful. Beautiful. I couldn't be more happier seeing something like that. But yeah, he's throwing it downfield a lot more. Campbell, good news on that front. Paris Campbell, as many of you know, or probably most of you know, was in a car accident. Mashed his car up pretty good. He's in concussion protocol, but he was out on the field today watching practice. And for him to be even on the field watching practice is a good step, because that means that he feels good enough to be out there. So I always felt that the whole concussion protocol was more of a precautionary thing, because when you're in a car accident, even if it seems minor, a lot of your a lot of injuries will pop up later on, days, even weeks afterwards. Like, you know, I got rear-ended by a vehicle one time and snapped my neck back. I didn't have any pain until 2 days later, and that's when whiplash started to come in. So you don't want to rush him back. Give him a week or so, make sure nothing's going on. He'll probably be back at practice next week. Well, I don't think he'll really miss much of a step, because he's just exploded in training camp, and I am incredibly excited. We saw glimpses of what he can be last year when he was healthy catching a football. I want to see that this season throughout the whole year. Wouldn't that be exciting? In contested situations, no, they were not. They were just drops. They were just straight up open drops. But don't, like I said earlier, I said the same thing. Don't let that, Aaron, don't let that get you down. JT's wasn't brought in to be a receiving back. He was brought in to run that ball between the tackles and bruise the heck out of defenses, especially the front seven, and wear them down. That way, the second half of a game is easier for the rest of the team to move the football. That's what he was brought in for. That's what he's going to do exceptionally well, as long as he doesn't fumble the football, which, by the way, he has not had that problem in practice so far in training camp. But then again, this is actually kind of funny, because the Colts practice stripping the ball every play on their defense. Matt Eberflus has his guys going for the football every time during live practice. Every time when they're going to try to, do tackle situations or the two-hand, they're going to trying to rip that ball out. And he's not had an issue like we saw in college when he had 18 fumbles in 3 years. Okay. Yeah, T.Y. and Campbell's speed is going to be great. I pray T.Y. is healthy. I pray Campbell is healthy. Oh my goodness. That as much as Jacoby Brissett, as much as we needed to upgrade from Jacoby Brissett, our passing game was hurt 5 times more by the fact that our first, second, and third wide receiver on the depth chart was hurt for the majority of the season. All 3 of them. So I would love to see our wide receivers step up and not have that kind of injury bug this year. And because you want a good combo with the quarterback. The quarterback needs to keep a good rhythm with his wide receivers. And it was impossible for Brissett to keep a rhythm with the receivers when they might be there one game, but not be there the next 2. And then they'd be there a game and not be there the next 1. And that's tough on any quarterback, let alone one that you already feel like you needed to upgrade from. Yes. Steven, yes. Okereke was on PFF's all under 25 team. There was more than just him on there that was a Colt too, by the way. Pittman and Taylor will get there. Yeah. You got to give them time. They're rookies, right? And it was a incredibly shortened off season. They haven't had time, right? Isaiah Rodgers not had time, right? You got these guys, the rookies. Expect 2 or 3 games to go through before they start really getting in a rhythm with the team. Live hitting and stuff. At least. I don't expect Pittman to really start making noise and a difference in games until at least week 4 or 5. That's when I expect Pittman to really start. Now, Taylor, running the football, he'll get his touches early on. He'll get a few. I could see him getting 5 to 10 touches the first few weeks of the year. I still think Mack will be the primary running back, and then Taylor will be the primary breather early on. And then you'll start to see, I believe, you'll start to see differences start to happen depending upon who has the hot hand. I mean, if Mack still has a hot hand, he's still running like crazy, he's going to get the majority of the carries. That's just all there is to it. But if Taylor starts to come out there when he's breathing Mack and he's out there blowing out as well and doing really good, you might start seeing it kind of go a 50-50 to keep both guys fresh and a better chance of keeping them from being injured. So I don't expect to see Taylor really getting more than 10 carries in a game until 3 or 4, probably week 3 or 4. I remember last year where Pascal seemed like he was the only he was, right? He was. And that's Marcus Johnson. We had to go out and pull him off the street. We went out and got Inman back off the street. We was pulling people off the street and off practice squad because we just had no kind of cohesion at the wide receiving group because of all the stupid injuries. We need that's something that doesn't get enough attention. The health of our players, our strength and conditioning staff, they've been working and doing things a lot differently. Their meals set up are a lot different. They're working on preventative measures to keep people from injury rather than getting players back faster. I would much rather prevent an injury, work on preventing it, more so than allowing a player to heal faster. Oh, so, well, I've been here over an hour now. Over an hour. And I have got a ton of people. I want to thank everyone on YouTube. All your guys' questions was awesome. Everyone on Sportscaster, thanks for joining there as well. I love the fact that all you guys really came in and joined in with this. I always have a fun time talking with you guys and discussing what's going on. Next week will be the last week I do one of these. All right. Just random talking about training camp, because next week I'm going to come in, not next week, but the week after will be right before the Jags game, right? So I'm hoping to have a Jags reporter on, or a Jags podcaster or something, and we'll sit there and break down the game for you guys, right? And maybe answer questions live. I think that's something I would really like to do with you guys. Appreciate all of you guys, man, sitting here talking with me, asking questions. Don't forget, hit the like, hit the subscribe, share to your social media, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, whatnot. All you got to do is hit the right underneath the stream where it says share. Just hit that baby, and then right click hit the copy button, and you just post that wherever. I would appreciate it very, very much. If you guys are on any kind of Colts blogs or anything, you want to share it to there, that'd be awesome as well. Help get me out there. I've only got 514 subscribers. I need 1,000. Just 1,000. Once I hit 1,000, I'll be happier than heck. I got a feeling that by week 4, I'll probably have 1,000, but I'd like to get there a lot sooner than that, right? Hopefully. Oh, I want to give a shout out to Jake Arthur. His position with the Indianapolis Colts has been put on hold. Just let you know that. His contributing writing to the Colts is put on hold because of the cutbacks due to COVID-19. So shout out to you. I hope you were able to find some help. Perhaps next week I can have him on and we can talk with you guys, me and Jake. Maybe we can get that going. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So, yeah, guys, thanks a lot. Appreciate you being here. Get some more uploads coming. If you guys have any kind of requests for videos, whether it be film room breakdowns or just an upload that you want me talking about something specific, feel free. Put in requests. Down at the bottom, underneath where it says follow me in the description, I have where you could actually donate to my stream via Streamlabs or through Cashapp or through Patreon. And any donations sent, you could put in any kind of like requests, especially like film room requests. And, we could see about making that happen, man. I don't care who it is. Des Patton. I don't care. Whoever you want me to do a film room on, I'll do what I can to get that done. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate that. I appreciate that. I'm getting better at it as I do it. I love watching the film. It's just difficult for me to make it interesting for people because I understand sometimes I like to ramble a little bit. But all right, guys, thanks again. Don't forget, hit like, subscribe, and share. And till next time, as usual, have a good one.